Hi folks, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. Hope everyone's doing well. As you might be able to tell from the fact that I'm wearing a collared shirt, I went into town today. Actually went north rather than south. I'm really broadening my horizons. And once again, I was unsupervised, though I didn't engage in any treats or anything like that, as it's very, very easy for me to gain a few pounds, even walking past a place that has nice things like cheesecake and torte and stuff like that. I sometimes think that even just looking at them causes me to gain weight. But I'm trying to be solid on this. I achieved the road to 195, and I haven't gotten that much lower though. I'm not too sure. I had aspirations of trying to get down to 190, but seem to be a bit stuck. Anyhow, to boxing. A fight that I don't think that I really wanted to see again, even though the first fight was really exciting. And of course, I'm talking about the Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn rematch. And earlier on this morning, when I was talking about fighters that, sometimes we don't like or sometimes we do like, and a lot of it's to do with outside the ring, public persona, that kind of stuff. Well, I have to say, I wasn't a big fan of Conor Benn, and I was sort of, cheering quite loudly for Chris Eubank Jr. to win. And of course, in their fight, which was back in April, Chris Eubank Jr. did win. 12 rounds, unanimous decision. I was listening to it actually at the gate at Los Angeles International Airport, and I made a quick video when I got to Vancouver Airport about it. And the fight itself, when I eventually got round to watching it all, because of course, you're listening and you get a different sort of impression. But the fight itself showed me a few things about Conor Benn that I have to say, he's gone up in my estimation. Sometimes a fighter can lose a fight and they've gained fans. The one that comes to mind is Justis Huni, of course, who was very unlucky in some respects not to prevail against Fabio Wardley, one of my favourite fighters. And I think Justis Huni gained a lot of fans in that loss. And I think Conor Benn, a more complicated story. I get it. Conor Benn of the clomiphene, or maybe I'm mispronouncing that, some substance in his body, and then, was that from ingesting eggs, or was this, that whole issue is sort of surrounded in a little bit of obscurity, and obfuscation. So it's a more complicated story with Conor Benn. And I respect people who say, he was a drug cheat, should be banned for life, don't want to hear about him. I hear you. Jamie, who comes on this channel, Jamie's, in that sort of can't stand the guy kind of camp. And I fully respect that. But maybe I didn't take it so much to heart or whatever, but I wasn't really a fan of Conor Benn. And I'm not saying I'm a fan of his now, but he's gone up in my estimation. And I know some other people who like Conor Benn. Lee from Inside the Distance, who I chat with regularly, he likes Conor Benn, and fair play, right? Well, anyhow, Conor Benn, some people might say that he was unlucky not to get the decision. I think the right decision was handed down, to be perfectly honest, but I could see how somebody could think differently. Well, anyhow, I wasn't that keen on a rematch, even though the fight was really good. And two reasons I wasn't too keen on the rematch. Sometimes the second portion isn't as good as the first, right? Sometimes a rematch is equal. Sometimes it's not as good. And sometimes it just leaves you a bit flat, right? And we can look at some famous trilogies where it hasn't been so good second time round, and then it's been really good third time round. I'm thinking actually Ali Fraser 1, then Ali Fraser 2 was and then Ali Fraser 3 was, I think, possibly the best of the bunch. would you say that Fury Wilder 2 was better than Fury Wilder 1? I'm not sure, but you know what I mean. Sometimes just getting that one is great. And so I wasn't that sort of super keen. And the other thing that I'm still not super keen about is at what weight are these chaps going to fight? I mean, making 160 for Chris Eubank Jr. seemed to be very, very difficult. And in fact, if I recall correctly, he missed it. And then he was it $500,000 or was it £500,000? I think it was $500,000, but it was a substantial amount of money that he had to pony up because he couldn't make that. And so I worry about the, squeezing somebody dry, the health issues, right? The health consequences, because you lose fluid from around the brain and other internal organs. And I think the medical people say that makes a person much more prone to having an injury and potentially a life-threatening injury. And I don't think anybody wants to see fighters put themselves in that position, right? Boxing's a dangerous sport regardless. It's not something that you want to be messing around with weight. The other thing, of course, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Is it good for Conor Benn to sort of fight above his natural weight? I don't know. I mean, to me, it seems easier to put on a few pounds. Certainly, there was a methodology to me talking about cheesecake and tort at the beginning. It seems easier to gain a few pounds than it would be just slim down and squeeze yourself dry. So those are the two reasons I was sort of not that keen. But now it's been announced, I have to say I'm kind of looking forward to it, which is, I suppose, hypocritical of me. But I kind of am looking forward to it. Conor Benn is, of course, the younger man. He's 28 at the moment. I don't remember their birthdays, so either man may click over the next year in between now and then. Record is 23-1-0, and the only person to beat him, of course, is Chris Eubank Jr. 14 by way of, so 60%-ish KO ratio. Eubank Jr. 35. Now 35 is beginning to be a little long in the tooth. Even for heavyweights, and I know Alexander Usyk is 38 or 9 and he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, but 35 is sort of that that sort of cut-off age even for heavyweights. And the lighter the weight, the more I think that's important. So Chris Eubank Jr. is cuspian, shall we say. He's on the cusp of being long in the tooth for this business. 35-3, 25 by way of, 71% KO ratio. I don't think weight drained, he's got enough to put Conor Benn away. I mean, I might be wrong. And I don't think Conor Benn's got quite enough to put Chris Eubank away either. Might be wrong. I think if we were going to see a stoppage, I think I might lean now towards Conor Benn. I'm not sure if a 160 Eubank Jr. has got enough jam on those punches. We'll find out, right? Anyways, they last fought, like I say, April 26th. And now it's scheduled for November the 15th at Tottenham Stadium. Interestingly, the prime or lead promoter is Sella, but it is supported by the Ring magazine and Riyadh Season. So fingers crossed it won't be pay-per-view, because I think Turki Al-Sheikh said no more pay-per-views on Ring or Riyadh Season things. I might be wrong on that. There may be some fine print that I didn't pay much attention to. But I certainly hope so, because pay-per-view it kind of sticks in my craw, Probably like lots of you, actually. And I don't mind if it's a really spectacular card so much. But, you know, I think I'm getting very grumpy about this business of Moses Atoma and Dillian White being pay-per-view. I don't think either are pay-per-view worthy. But anyhow, I've been on that soapbox before and no one's really paid much attention. Certainly not Mr. Al Sheikh. He's not phoned me up for any for any thoughts. I'm not going to hold my breath on that one either. So that's all I've got to say about this, really. I guess I am looking forward to it now, even though maybe I think it shouldn't happen. I think I'd be happier, and this will sound silly, so if you're still listening, you can, I say I lost my mind. I would be happier if it was like a 164 maybe. But then again, it's harder on Conor Benn. But I don't know. I'm concerned about this weight draining. But hey, they're big boys. They're multi-millionaires. They know what they're doing. They've got doctors probably coming out of the yin yang, and I'm sure that they're far more knowledgeable about these issues than I am. What am I? I'm just a fan. That's all I've got for the moment. I may chat with you a little bit later. Depends on what happens. But for now, I think I'm going to take a small nap. Going to town has tired me out. I get far more tired walking around a shop than I do if I'm walking around with a chainsaw in my hand or something. Maybe a gender thing there. Who knows? Anyways, thanks very much for watching. Please like, please share, and please subscribe if you can. We've lost 5 or 6 chaps. Be nice if we could get those numbers back. Fingers crossed. Thanks so much for watching. Wherever you are, have a fabulous day, okay? Cheers. Bye-bye.